and it has an integrated antenna. Later this month, we're going to be announcing and launching a connectorized version of that subscriber module. So there are some niche applications that might want to take advantage of putting the antenna outside of the subscriber module. And so just so you're aware, that's a product that will be coming out later this month. We talked about standard AAA servers. Today we document and support two different products. We have the AirDial, which is a commercial off-the-shelf AAA server, and then we also have FreeRadius, which is an open source-based AAA server. We've also had customers use their own different third-party AAA servers and successfully deployed that as well. So if you already have a AAA server in-house, it's certainly possible to do the interoperation here with the 320. We talked about network management and the CMM. That makes out the complete system. Some of the system specs, we have two different radios. The one that you're most likely going to be interested in is the 3.6 to 3.8 gigahertz radio, which covers 365 for North America. We also offer the 3.3 to 3.6, which is for the traditional 3.5 gigahertz WiMAX band. There is 3.5 gigahertz licenses available in Canada, so there is some opportunity to use the product in Canada as well. 3.65 gigahertz is a what we call a lightly licensed band. So it means that as a service provider, you can go out and apply for a 3.65 gigahertz license from the FCC, and you have the rights to use that license throughout the U.S. But what you must do is then register on the FCC website the location of each of those devices. So it doesn't give you exclusive access to that channel, but at least gives you an understanding of who else might be operating in the area and allow you to work with them, rather than a completely unlicensed scenario where you don't know where that interference might be coming from. The FCC limits the power output in 3.65 gigahertz to about 2 by 20 dBm. So you'll see that in the 3.65 gigahertz space, the link budgets there. The channel bandwidths, we offer actually 4 different channel bandwidths. We have 3.5 megahertz, 5, 7, and 10 megahertz channels, so that's all software selectable. You can see the MIMO we talked about, and then the maximum line of sight range. We can spend a minute on that. The 802.16e protocol has a range limitation basically designed into its frame structure that limits line of sight range to about 11 kilometers, about 8 miles for 5 and 10 megahertz channels, and about 10 miles or 16 kilometers for a 7 megahertz channel. Later this year, we're going to be introducing a software feature that's deployable over the air, which will extend that capability out to 40 kilometers for those link budgets that support that kind of distance. Management options I've covered in an earlier slide. Again, wireless manager, or you can do everything you need to do through the web interface if you want to start out with a smaller network. Certainly, as the network grows, we'd recommend using wireless manager. QoS, you see the 5 different QoS profiles supported there. And then for authentication, we use ETTLS, and 128-bit AES encryption is built into the radios. So some of you may be familiar with our other PMP products, and I included this slide as a sort of a quick summary of what the difference is between the PMP 320 and the PMP 100. This becomes important as you start to maybe overlay an existing PMP 100 network with a PMP 320 network. It's good to know what the differences are between the two products. So a couple of the key ones are, of course, this is licensed spectrum. So for 365, you need to go get that license from the FCC. It's a 16E standards-based platform. It's a new platform, which means that the software releases that are coming out and the features that you'll see with the PMP 320 won't always match up with what's on the PMP 100. So you'll have to look for that, the differences in the different functionality in the different platforms. And similarly with the web interface, the UI is different between the 320 and the 100, so you'll see some differences there. The 128-bit AES encryption is included as standard in this product. We support Wireless Manager and a AAA server for network management authentication, which means that Prism and the BAM servers are not supported with the PMP 320, so this is all standards-based. And then the IP networking architecture. We're just now getting ready to launch our software release, which will support Layer 2. That should be available on the commercial website here in the next week or so. And that's going to support both the ability for the access point to operate as a Layer 2 bridge, or you can software configure it to operate as a router. And similarly with the subscriber module, you can operate that as a bridge, or the subscriber module can be operated as a NAT device, which does network address translation. So it gives the customer the flexibility to, well, as you determine how you want to deploy the network, you can decide whether I want to run this as a bridge network or as a routed network, and it's all done in the same software load, so you have the ability to switch that on the fly or as the requirements demand. A couple points here on throughput. This is a 45 megabits per second aggregate throughput per sector. In order to reach that full throughput, some conditions have to be available in the network, so we just wanted to clarify what we mean by that, because there's a lot of flexibility in this platform. In order to reach 45 megabits per second, you use a 10 megahertz channel. The SMs should be in MIMO matrix A or MIMO matrix B connections, and then 75-25 downlink uplink ratio. And then in order to completely fill up that pipe, that full 45 megabits per second, you need about 5 SMs, because each SM is capable of up to about 14 megabits per second in the downlink. So in order to keep that access point fully occupied over time, you need about 5 SMs in order to keep that pipe full. So the last slide we have on the 320 is the roadmap slide. So I'll cover the roadmap, and I also wanted to touch a little bit on the differences between this 802.16e platform and some of the other products that you might see out there in 3.65 gigahertz. This platform, as I've mentioned, is 16e. There's a number of other alternatives or competitors out there that are running 16D, which is the older style technology, the older protocol for WiMAX. And we really look at 16E as both business advantages as well as technical advantages over the previous protocols that were out there. So with 16E, you're getting the latest technology for the WiMAX broadband space, and that gives you access to interoperability with other types of subscriber modules. It also gives you basically all of the investment that's happening with the in software and in chipsets and in CPE design is happening in the 16E spectrum and not in the 16D space. So from a business standpoint, investment standpoint, it's the latest technology that's to invest in. From the technology standpoint, there's a number of benefits. A couple of them are the fact that 16E runs in a 10 megahertz channel. Most D solutions are limited to 3.5 and 7 megahertz channels. So by running in a 10 megahertz channel, 4-sector solution, you can really maximize the throughput in the spectrum available at 3.65 gigahertz. Also supports MIMO, which gives the coverage and throughput advantages over D, which is a SISO technology. When I say SISO, I mean it's got a single transmitter, single receiver on the subscriber module. With the 16E, we have 2 transmitters on the AP and 2 receivers on the subscriber module. So from a technology standpoint, you're going to have better coverage with 16E and higher throughput and better use of that spectrum at 3.65. So really, we look at 16E as the clear technology solution, both from a what should you be investing in as well as what kind of performance to expect. Now, some of the things on the roadmap that we have coming, I mentioned the connectorized subscriber module that will be coming out here in the next month. And then we have, and these are all things that are on sort of the short-term roadmap that you'll see coming out in over-the-air software releases yet this year and first quarter of next year. Again, I mentioned next week we'll have our E2.0 release. This is going to support Layer 2 bridge mode in the access point. This has been a feature that a lot of our customers have requested. It allows the access point to operate in a bridge type networking environment and then do, as well as supporting VLANs, both in a pass-through mode, and we'll also be able to have the subscriber module do tagging of VLANs. If you want to define a VLAN behind each subscriber module, you can do up to 8 different VLANs.